Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Ascension Arc, where all of you get to vote for one of the many unbuilt characters on my account that I will spend roughly a month of time building up to a usable state. Now, for the first time ever, the screen is blank, and that's because a mystery option successfully won the vote. I cannot believe this, but the vote was so incredibly close that we almost have to, bring up a repeat of it, because it's crazy. When all was said and done, combining together both the public vote as well as the supporters' additional votes, we had two contestants. Zhangling and Rosaria did not stand a chance, so it was up to Yume Mizuki and the mystery choice of Dendro. Mizuki ended up with 3 votes less than our mystery option today, so if you wanted to say that the votes don't matter, trust me they do. This was the closest it's ever been. Let's not keep you waiting any longer, however. Today's mystery option is Collei. Yeah, I wasn't really ready for this one either, but Collei is super interesting. We built Tignari not that long ago, and Collei happens to be a very good support for him. So that's most likely what we're going to end up doing. It's also just really fun to finally see Collei get the chance up the big screen, because, let's be honest, look at how adorable she is. Now, Collei is a 4-star off-field Dendro unit that was released alongside the release of Sumeru, and most of you know of this character because you already own one. She comes for free on every account that starts the Sumeru quest, which is actually quite incredible, because a lot of people are sleeping on the fact that she does some really solid off-field Dendro application, and her damage isn't necessarily half bad either. The problem is that she is very easily outshined by the likes of Nahida, because Nahida basically takes up the entirety of the off-field Dendro unit, and now Lauma, which also does a superb job at that role. But I still think we're going to have a lot of fun with this one, so I'm kind of excited. Now, the pre-build for Collei is going to be deceptive, because there is actually some work I've done on this character before, even if it doesn't show on the score. Obviously, she is not level 90, and her elemental skill and everything is just not leveled. Nothing is. None of her artifacts are currently leveled, but we are going to get there, and there's just a bunch of other stuff we have to do. Don't worry about most of the text. It's going to be irrelevant in just a little bit. More importantly, though, let's talk about Collei's abilities. Now, Collei's abilities are very simple to understand. Her elemental skill throws out a boomerang that goes a certain distance away from you, then tries to return back to you. Each time it strikes something, it deals 1 instance of Dendro damage, and then when it comes back to you, it'll deal 1 instance again. You can dodge out of the way of the boomerang to make it do a larger circle behind you in order to strike 1 more time if you would like, but it very rarely comes up, and due to one of her Ascension passives, you kind of don't want to do that anyway. Her burst is also very simple. She throws out her trump card kitty that bounces around in an area that deals AoE Dendro damage for a little while. Very simple kit to understand, but most characters don't have to be that advanced. Her first passive is that if any party member triggers a Dendro-based reaction before the boomerang returns to you, you get the Sprout effect, which will deal Dendro damage around you equal to 40% of Collei's attack for a couple of seconds. Basically, it's just a small Dendro application AoE, and it works fairly well. Secondly, if you trigger something within the trump card kitty's zone, it extends the duration by 1 second, which is very important. So whenever you burst with Collei, you really want to be going into the zone to do everything you need to do, because that extends the duration and deals more damage. Lastly, there's only 2 real constellations that are of any note here. We have C2, which whenever the Floralling returns and you get the Sprout effect, it also does a bit more damage by spinning around in a circle, which is kind of neat. And C4, when using your burst, everybody's elemental mastery is increased by 60 for 12 seconds, not including Collei. That doesn't matter all that much because we do in fact have C4 Collei on this account, which is kind of neat. Now, weapons for Collei. This one's actually fairly easy. Her best in slot is Venti's weapon, Elegy of the End, giving her energy recharge, as well as providing your entire party with elemental mastery and attack, I believe. But if you don't have that available, both the Favonius Bow and the Sacrificial Bow are incredibly good choices for Collei, both providing energy recharge and elemental orbs in their own way. As you can probably tell, you want to have Collei's burst up as much as possible, so those 2 weapons are optimal. Stat sticks, you can basically put anything that gives crit rate or crit damage if you happen to have them and don't need the energy recharge. charge for some reason. You have the situational weapons, which is the end of the line, which is a weapon you can run if you have absolutely nothing else for some reason, and the 2 elemental mastery weapons, in case you were feeling very daring. Something like the stringless is decent, and the cloudforged is also okay, because it's just a stat stick. Don't use the King's Choir, even though it fits her, because it's very good looking, but does absolutely nothing. Now, when it comes to team choice for Collei, I actually decided on doing something interesting this time around. Because we've had so many Dendro characters on this show, because you guys seem to have a fixation for Dendro for some reason, I decided that this is the one time we are going to go as close to a free-to-play team as possible. Yes, I can't really remove constellations from my account, and I do apologize for that, but there still is some really interesting things we can do here. One of Collei's best teams is actually entirely free-to-play. You will be playing a main DPS Tignari, which we built on a previous Ascension Arc, so go check out that episode if you haven't seen it. And then Collei will be our sub-DPS. Then we will be playing Fischl and Kukishinabu. All of these characters kind of go together to make a very nice quick and spread team that works surprisingly well for it being entirely free to play, or, you know, as close to thereof as you can be. These are mostly 4-star characters and a 5-star that are all available on the standard banner, which is also a little bit interesting because this is actually a potential team we could one day build on standard only, which is just kind of cool. Now, if you're looking for alternatives, obviously Collei is an off-field Dendro unit, so you have a ton of options. Main DPSs should probably be something that triggers Quicken or Electro, someone like Clorand or, I don't know, Varessa if you're feeling incredibly crazy. You could also alternatively play Alhaitham, could probably work out if that's something you want to do. Sub-DPSs are fairly common. You could play someone like Yae Miko or even Raiden Shogun if you're really feeling like it to build a Quicken team. And when it comes to supports, pick your poison. There are a ton of them. You could go into Hyper Bloom, you could go into Virgin if you're crazy. There's multiple options. Now, normally, I also recommend a free-to-play team, but we're already playing the free-to-play team. So, no! With that out of the way, though, let's show the team that we are currently intending to build here. So, of course, we have Tignari that you've seen before, which hasn't really changed all that much. It's still 70 to 155. He is rocking the Slingshot and a Wanderer's Troop set, which is honestly not that bad. Something that has changed, though, is we now have C1 Tignari on this account, which gives him 50% extra crit rate, so he's actually on 85%, which I suppose is neat. We have Fischl that I have been doing some work on since her Ascension Arc. There's a lot of Ascension Arc characters in this team. She is now on 68 to 192, which is a shocking amount better than before. I have given her the Skyward Harp for now. She could still run the Stringless, but she loses quite a bit of crit rate that way, and her crit rate is lacking to say the least, so I would rather do it this way. She is still on Golden Troop, however, which is really nice. And then we have Kukishinabu. Kukishinabu's build is wrong. Hang on. There we go. Now I've said it to be correct. We will be running Kukishinabu on a Tenacity of the Millilith set, which may confuse you a bit considering we are playing Quick and Aggravate, which normally uses an absolute bonanza ton of Elemental Mastery. However, we kind of lack any sort of buffing for our main unit here, which is going to be Tignari, and her buff technically works for Collei as well, so I'll be playing her slightly more defensive, not only to improve healing a bit, but just to kind of have something else going. Lastly, though, we have Collei herself. Collei herself is currently rocking absolute nothing. Let's not talk about it. She will be on the Favonius Warbow this time around, because again, we said we are going as close as free-to-play as possible. Obviously, Slingshot is a free-to-play weapon. Skyward Harp might be a 5-star, but is available on the standard banner, so I'll count it. Setwood Blade is a craftable, and Favonius Warbow is a 4-star that you will end up finding at some point. I do have a refinement rank 5, but just use whatever you have in case you have it. This is fully leveled, so we don't need to do anything about this whatsoever. And unlike most other episodes, I have actually passively kind of gotten a set for Collei. It's not a very good one, mind you. We still have to find a circlet that works well for her. But I do actually have some things we can do here. I have this Dendro Damage Goblet that is not half bad at all. Collei, you are adorable, but we have things to do. What were you looking at? Oh. That's a bit weird. Alright, now that Collei is not spitting us an earful. I managed to get this Dendro Damage Goblet piece at some point, and I don't necessarily remember when I picked it up, but I am going to stick this on Collei because it was probably in preparation for farming for this anyway. I also passively just kind of gathered up a couple of pieces that I feel are okay to use for now. Normally you use an attack percentage piece, but an energy recharge piece for Collei is not entirely awful. We have an elemental mastery and another elemental mastery piece if we feel like using those, but I feel like this is fine because it carries attack percent and double crit, which is just awesome. Her feather is actually really nice. It is double crit as well as energy recharge, even though it's unleveled. And her flower is crit damage, energy recharge, and EM. Normally, you don't really build EM on Collei, as she acts more like a sub-DPS more than an elemental mastery enabler, which I think is perfectly fine for us. She will be our Deepwood user, in case you couldn't tell, because she will be buffing Tignari. So what we're actually going to start off doing this episode is we're going to level some of these artifacts, because realistically speaking, this could cut down a lot of time for us. We're gonna go for the Dendro damage goblet bonus first, because let's be honest here, this is the most important one we're going to do. I am hoping to drop crit damage EM on this one particularly. That's probably gonna be the best. Crit damage on the first one is very, very nice. Energy recharge isn't a bad stat, but we're going to have so much of it that I don't know if it's necessarily that useful. HP, on the other hand, is a dead stat, though. And that was the end of our consumables, unfortunately. But hey, that is a good start on this. We do have to do some talent upgrades here. I do have quite a bit of teachings of praxis, because once again, most things that I do just kind of collects, like, over time. All of these things for the characters we've had so far are for characters I never intended to build. So a lot of the Sumeru materials I just kind of have. Let's start with actually upgrading her burst, though, because her burst is the main damage she's going to be doing. Let's bring it up as far as we can. This is a lot, actually. We brought it up to 4. We're also going to upgrade her skill, because her skill is very, very good. There we go. Very cool. We are not going to be upgrading her attack at all, because we are not going to be using it. Oh yeah, she is Constellation 4 on this account. I believe I mentioned it, but there she is. We are going to have to level her up a little bit, though, because apparently we are far behind. We have one of the worst farmables in the entire game in the Rukashava mushrooms. I hate these forsaken things, but for Collei, I'll do it. We do have one of the easiest bosses, though, which is the Majestic Hooked Beak, so we're going to go do that first. All right, let's just throw ourselves in against the Terror Beak. This thing isn't all that bad, honestly. It's weird that we're fighting it the way that we are, but hey, you know. Let's see Kuki's healing here. 3k per thing is not bad. And I got Collei killed immediately. Good job, me. Let's get Bird down. Let's drop this. Hit in the head. 10k on something with Dendro resistance isn't actually all that bad. We go Collei, throw the thing, throw out her burst. We want to do all of this if we can. Like, this is not half bad damage, honestly. Like, I'm okay with this. Is it the best damage I've ever experienced? No. Is it terrible? Absolutely not. I can dig this. Anyways, we got our first drop, and we got an attack head that we don't really need, but hey, it's there. But hey, oh, a chunk too. Look, it's busting us today. Like, it is, I will say, it is very hard to see what number is which here, because let's be honest, things are just kind of happening. There's just so many things on the screen that I have no clue. I will say, though, there is a lot of numbers that seem to just be doing damage, because we are getting Collei's burst every rotation with as much energy recharge as we have, which is actually really good. It isn't dealing a ton of damage, but obviously it probably shouldn't yet. But the fact that we can kind of do this and make sure to have it every single rotation is very nice. Just stand inside of it, create a bunch of fields, and kind of go at it. Like, this is a cool team. I don't hate this one at all. This is great. Ah, we got 3 more drops as well, and a flower that isn't very good. But hey, you live and learn. We got a defense hat. Great, I guess. Yeah, I'm gonna be real here. This team slaps. This is so much fun to use. What the hell? Oh, we got it out of the HP. That wasn't very good, I guess. But hey, a 4-drop. Very cool. That was unfortunately the last kill we're going to get today, but I'm honestly not going to be complaining all that much because we have so many other things that we can do to improve Collei just off the bat. Let's actually get to her levels as well here. We are missing 2 purple chunks apparently, but that should be fairly easy to get. I think we have way more than enough to craft those up really quickly. Let's see, that is not crafting. Crafting is here. Let's make 2. Exactly 2. Very cool. Ding, da, da, ding. Very nice. Let's bring Collei up to 70, which gives us the Languid Wood passive. We're going to bring her right up to 70 as well, because again, I have pre-farmed just a little bit. Because let's be honest here, sometimes you just kind of need to. For the second one now, we have the duration increase, so now it can actually last up to... how long does it last now together with this? I'm not entirely sure. 6 seconds. It can last up to 9 seconds. Not bad. Let's go ahead and upgrade Trump Card Kitty again because we hit the next level here. Unfortunately, we are out of... Oh, never mind. We have a ton of these we can craft. I take that back. Apparently, we just have an absolute tippy ton of these. Let's see. Let's bring Collei out. Let's grab some sharp arrows. I believe people have said I should be using sucrose to do this. I don't entirely know the reason, but I guess statistically it's just better. We got 67 of them. That should carry us for a little while. Let's go back into Collei. Let's grab Trump Card Kitty and upgrade the ever-living bejesus out of it. Oh, we can actually start... I have a lot of these too, somehow. I guess it's just that a lot of my characters don't really use Raiden's rewards. But that's really good. So we are going to be waiting on that. We are going to be bringing up the skill as well here, because the skill is useful to us. So now they are both level 6. And I do believe that we don't really have anything else we need to do. I do have some saved resin in case I want to use it, but I don't really think that I do. We have the Rukashava mushrooms that I need to go collect, so I will. We can very easily craft these up to have enough, and these ones should not be a problem either, because I can transfer them from something else. So we are basically just kind of set on that front. I don't know how many more of these we are going to need, and they are technically not farmable today. So I guess we are just going to go do the most cost-effective, no. Yes, I found it. I'm just stupid, don't worry about it. But no, one of the most cost-effective uses of your resin, in case you are building a team, for any account that uses Dendro, is this one. You can get both the Deepwood Memory set, which is the main Dendro set, because obviously it lowers Dendro risk by 30%, and the Gilded Dream set, which is just a good reaction-based set in general, because the only requirement for this is an elemental reaction. Like, this set is incredibly good. So, in case we actually get a couple of good pieces of this set, I will be swapping, I'll be swapping Kuki Shinobu over to it if we can get a full Elemental Mastery set of this, just to try it out. But unfortunately, I don't have that on this account yet, so can't use something we don't have. What we are really looking for, though, is the Dendro pieces, obviously, because we need them for Collei. What we want the most would be an attack percentage sans, so that we can replace the energy recharge one in case it ends up rolling poorly, and we need a crit rate circlet. Rate specifically, because I don't think crit damage is going to be that relevant here. Like, this is such a cool team. I like this one a lot. For being completely obtainable free to play, this is kind of kick-ass. Anyways, here we go. We have an HP Laurel that is bad. This could be really good if it rolls better than the other one, so I'll keep it. I was asking for an Elemental Mastery piece, but I know for a fact that is the only one I already have. I'll still keep it, because the substats on this is pretty nice in case I find someone else to use it. But damn, that's unlucky. If that was any of the other pieces, that would have been great. Alright, drop number 2. Crit damage is so close. Oh, that could have been really, 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 really good if that was great, but it is not, and the substats aren't great either. If we don't get anything else, I'm still gonna hold on to this, because it's attack percent energy recharge, but our crit rate is suffering right now. I'll keep it, but man, if that was crit rate instead of crit damage. Alrighty, drop number 3, give me some goodies. That's a lot of goodies. Defense Goblet, don't really care. HP Sands, I don't care for either. And that flower is good still. It's arguably better than the one we have equipped at the moment. I'll keep that one. I'm pretty sure, because the one we have doesn't have crit rate anyway, right? I've already forgot. Let's have a look. This one here has crit damage, energy recharge, elemental mastery. This one here has crit damage, elemental mastery, and energy recharge. They are the same? Yeah, except this one has one extra roll on it. So we'll swap over to this one. We'll still lock this just in case, but we'll keep her on this for now. It's got basically the same roll too, so it's just straight up better. Neat. Man, this team makes short work out of everything. It's kind of nice. We got the 4th roll, and attack percent is not really what we want. That one's not great either. HP percent on this, I don't care, and that feather is not really good. Look, it's okay that we have one dead run here. I feel like that's fine after all the good ones we've had. And there we go, the final one for today. That feather is not great, I'm going to be honest, at least not for what we're doing. An elemental masterpiece I do not need. Another element. Look, people are going to kill me for getting both of these, I guess. And yeah, it's an elemental mastery piece on that set, I guess. Sure. Just because we can, let's re-roll some pieces for the Deepwood memory set and see what we can get here. Prior damage bonus, I do not care. Dendro damage on set with elemental mastery crit damage. I'm keeping that. The rest of these is an attack. That one's not very good. That one's not very good. That is an attack sense, but the substats on that is awful, so I will skip out. Sorry. 2 more rolls here. We've got an attack percent goblet and a flower that isn't great. I am a little bit curious here because I don't remember what we gave you. Because we rolled on this, and there was EM, ER, crit damage. This is EM crit damage on set. Technically a little bit worse than this stat-wise, if you're going to think about it, but I'll still hold on to this, just in case I feel like rolling it. We are going to finish rolling this one up to 20 to see what it rolls, though. Anything other than HP on this one is great. Crit damage! Perfect, honestly. I'm not mad about that one at all. We're gonna keep this one. As for the rest here, I am very curious to see the feather roll. I think the feather is the one we are going to roll next. It is obviously going to activate energy recharge here. We're going to see if we can get crit rate, crit damage are the 2 most important on this one. Energy recharge is kind of okay. Crit damage is very good. Let's see if we can get one more of those. Crit rate is actually astonishing for this piece. If we can get some more of that, I'll be happy. Oh, well, we're out of materials. Double roll into crit rate! Perfect feather! The rolls are very, very low, though, to be fair. But I'm still not going to complain. That's a, what, a 34 point something CV? I'm not mad about that one at all. The rolls are very, very low, but they're all in the correct place. I don't think we could have asked for anything better than that. Except higher rolls, I guess. But look, beggars can't be choosers. All of them were in the correct place. I'm very happy about it. That means we have 2 pieces that are definitely usable here. And we are getting some crit rate. We are definitely going to need a crit rate circlet for this to work. I'm looking at it now, and there is no way that is not going to be the plan. We might actually have to swap to this feather or flower I already have. Again, I don't like taking feathers that I already have, because generally speaking, that kind of ruins the whole idea. I have it on Nahida because it has elemental recharge and EM. If this rolls more EM, I will swap these over just to give the crit, I guess. But we'll upgrade it to full at least. As far as this goes, if this goes all into crit rate as well, we have an actual build going here. But that is all we're going to be able to do for today. We have to ascend her further in order to get to where we want to be. So I am going to spend an unreasonable amount of time farming some Rukashava mushrooms off screen. And tomorrow we will return and we will continue to ascend Collei. It's another Collei day! I did some farming off screen to prepare us for today, but we are ascending Collei up to 80, where I think I'm going to let her stay for the time being. The thing with Dendro-related reactions is that you really want them to be level 90 if possible. But I'm gonna be real here, this puts a pretty big dent in my plans because I'm gonna have a very hard time actually getting these. So I'm just not going to. We should also point out that Tignari might be 90, but Collei doesn't necessarily have to be, I don't think. So we'll stick her on 80 and we will call it quits there. It will lower the damage of the team a little bit. Whatever. We are going to level up Trump Card Kitty as far as we can, though. There is to level 7, and there is to the maximum level we can get, which is 8. I think 8 and 8 is a fairly good stopping point for Collei, to be honest. So we are just going to do that. Because again, it's not my main character, but I still want her to be usable. We've said this before. You all know how this stuff works on my account. Let's go have a look at Collei, because we need to not do that. We need to do elemental skill. We need to craft a couple of these, which we seem to all have available, actually, which is kind of neat. Yeah, no, everything here seems to be good, so we can just do that, really quickly swap on over to Collei, get her skill up to level 8 as well, which obviously becomes level 11 due to the C3, and we are not leveling her normal attack up past level 2 because it just gives us points. With that, the last thing we really have to do for Collei in order to get to where we want to be is do the artifact stuff. Obviously, the feather that we got here is absolutely perfect. We are not going to be doing anything else with this. It's 3 and 1. It's crazy good. This energy recharge one is the one I want to roll next because I think that will be useful. This dendro goblet rolled really well as well, so we are keeping that. And then we have this flower, which I would like to roll because we need to see whether or not this actually rolls into crit damage. So let's do that first. That is a bad start. We'll give it one more. That is good. We will keep rolling it. That is bad, and we're going to quit immediately upon seeing both of those. We do have another one here that is crit damage, energy recharge, and elemental mastery, and we have one more here, which is crit damage and recharge and a bunch of attack percent. So we are just, oops, that is the wrong way around. We are going to swap to this one. Unfortunately, with 2 rolls into defense, I'm not entirely interested in that one anymore. We'll just transfer it over to this one with a loss, and we'll see where we get from here. I can't believe it. It happened again. We're on the same location we were before. We'll try one higher. Double crit damage is very good. Can we get another one? An energy recharge. Not terrible, honestly. I'll hold on to that one. This one could be really good if it rolls attack percent or the other two, but I think I'm genuinely okay with this one. That one's not awful, and Ian helps a little bit, as we've said. It's not bad. We'll keep that one for the time being. I'm not entirely mad. The next one we need to roll for is this energy recharge piece. We can get it up almost to level 8 to see what it rolls. That's unfortunate. We are going to need to get some fodder today. Our stats currently are 19 to 108, which isn't great. So let's get working on that. We have a ton of resin that I am deciding to use for this because, realistically, I was supposed to start this episode in particular way, way earlier than I did. But I had a bunch of things happen in real life that kind of kept pushing the recording of this episode back a bunch of times. So I feel like I have to make up for lost time, and that's exactly what resin is for. Resin exists to make up for lost time. So let's do that. I'll pump whatever I've got into the domain today, and we'll see if we can get some pieces that are really good. We are still looking for a crit rate circlet, and I don't think we have any way to avoid that now. It needs to be a crit rate circlet. We have no option, is what I'm saying. If we can get a good attack stance, I'll keep that too. But we'll see. Let's drop in our first resin here, and we get us. Oh! I mean, it's not with crit damage on it, but that is a crit rate circlet with attack percent at the very least. If that had had crit damage, that would have been insane, but we'll keep going. This is not entirely great. Neither is that one. But that is at least an onset crit rate circlet, so we have something to show for it. First drop of the day, too. This domain has been really nice to me. Right, here is the next one. We got ourselves an HP Sands, which we don't care about. An attack feather that I don't really care about. And a crit damage, nothing else on it. Flower. Oh, well. Alright, let's drop another fragile resin in, and all 3 of them are locked. Is kind of crazy. Nope, that is not what we want. That is not what we want either. HP, why does it keep, I need to really change the lock assistance on this. I have no use for HP Sands on this anymore. I don't know why it keeps shocking me like it's worth something. Come on, man. Let's drop another one in there. We got a feather, which would have been cool, but we have a better one. An attack percent head that I don't really care for, a flower I don't really care for, and another bad piece. Oh well. Here's the next one. Pyro damage bonus, sure. An attack with double crit is kind of nice, but it's got double defense. I don't know if I dare to do anything with that, but we'll keep it. I don't need to roll it for Collei, because the feather we have I'm satisfied with, but it's good to have, I suppose. Alright, next one up. Healing bonus is funny. That's not very good. Elemental Mastery Circlet with double crit on Gilded Dreams. Okay. Look, I'm not gonna do any complaints about that one. I think that was one of the pieces on Gilded Dreams that I was actually missing to have a full EM set on this. That's really good, actually. Holy, okay. Nice. Again, not necessarily needed for this character, but I was saying I wanted those. Let me double check if that was one of them, actually. Yeah, that was the final one I was missing. Technically, I am also missing a goblet, but a goblet you can easily steal from anything else. So we could technically run a gilded piece on Kuki now. That's cool. It is one of Kuki's, like, best options. So, I mean, running one of those is not entirely bad. We might try that if we feel the need to. But that's actually kind of cool. The lack of crit rate is hurting so bad. Anyways, we've got another one up. Let's see what we can get this time. We've had some good luck today. Electro damage bonus. It's not an awful one, honestly. Don't care about this one at all. There's a defense percent, which I really do not care about. Another one coming in live. We've got a flower with crit rate again, same as before. We got another elemental mastery head, but it's worse than the other one that we got. And a defense head, all for the wrong set. Oh well. Alright, we got another one for ya. An HP goblet that I don't care about. Attack goblet that I don't care about. Healing bonus head again is unfortunate. And a feather that isn't great. Alright, last resin that I had saved up. Let's see where that gets us. It gets us a terrible couple here. A crit damage with attack headpiece. I have a better crit damage one than this already, so I don't think I'll be keeping that one. Alright, 2 more runs with no resin, and then we get to crafting, I suppose. Alright, we've got 40 resin used. 2 pieces here, both of them I don't really care about. Alright, and then the final one, which is a single-use resin bazinga thing, and ooh. It's it tricked me. If that was attack percent, that would have been amazing. Unfortunately, such is not the case. Alright, with all the fodder now gathered up, let's quickly reroll everything we got that we didn't like into Deepwood. See if we can get anything here that's worth something. That's a goblet, unfortunately, so it doesn't really help us. That feather isn't great. We have a better one. HP I don't care about still. That one's awful. No. Barely. Definitely not. HP again. Elemental Mastery is cool, but I already have a full set of that. Energy Recharge is cool, but we have a better one with double crit. Attack with crit damage isn't necessarily awful. However, we need crit rate, and we need it desperately. So I will still be getting rid of this one. We'll reroll everything again. See if we can get anything better. There is a flower with crit rate, but I don't think we're going to pick that up. There's defense. Attack, crit rate, energy reach. Okay, this one is actually really good. I will keep that. That's as good as we're going to get, most likely. I don't mind that piece at all. That had everything we want, even if it is a little bit weird and wacky with it. That's fine. Let's have a looky here. Now that we've crafted everything away, we're going to have to live with Signori talking in the background, but honestly, I can do that. Like, this piece is good, don't get me wrong, and I am going to roll this once to see if we roll into crit rate on this. We did not, so most likely this piece will not be used. We will swap over to the attack one that we found, where technically every single one of these is useful, but crit rate is the one I need desperately. This will obviously just activate attack, and we already know that, so whatever. Please roll crit rate. EM is not terrible. I don't want that. We need the crit rate. Come on. ER is good, but it's not crit rate. Please, last one. Like, normally I'd be happy about a 3 EM roll on Deepwood, but this one doesn't help that much. I still think this is the best one we're possibly going to get for now, because, yeah, we could keep rolling into this and hope it rolls crit rate, but I don't think that's going to necessarily help us. And everything there is useful, don't get me wrong, but 19 is just... that's so sad. Like, man, we are so close to having a really decent build going here. But that's unfortunate. We're gonna have to roll this crit rate one. I don't think we have an option not to. The only thing here that is really useful at all is the 4.1% attack. We don't have anything else, so we're just gonna drop whatever we got in here until I can find a better one, I guess. Flat attack is whatever. It's not my favorite. We have no more consumables. That sucks. I mean, that is not a roll that we would like to see at all. But it is important that it has 31% crit rate, and that's kind of where we need it to be. Arguably, what we could do is that we could change this to the Dendro Damage Goblet we found here, which only has crit damage on it. And if this rolls really well, this could be the piece that we use. But this has so many good stats for us that I'm not entirely sure whether or not that is worth it. I'll still try it, I guess. Let me find a piece I don't particularly care about. I found a Wanderer's Troop piece that was left over from when we did Tignari's episode, so we can try that. If this rolls basically all into crit damage EM, this would be better than the one we have, and then we could get a better crit rate circlet, but I don't have high hopes. Well, there's your hopes. God damn it. Well, I maxed it out, and it ain't looking all too good there. I don't even know. We can't even reshape this, so I couldn't swap it to those two. That's so unfortunate, to be honest, but there isn't really anything I can do about that. What we end up with is 50 to 101 with 200 energy recharge. Isn't really that awful. But Collei's personal damage is going to suffer a lot from this. Yeah, I could spend an unreasonable amount of time continuing the artifact hunt for Collei, but realistically speaking, she is just going to be an applicator in most cases, so I'm not entirely sure that I have to. Let me do some team fidangling a little bit, as the floor in my teapot glitches out, and we'll see what I can come up with for a quick Spiral Abyss run. Now, the problem we have with the actual Spiral Abyss right now is the fact that both enemies on the second half of the first attempt here will not work for Quicken because they are both Hydro enemies that will just spawn orbs that will fuck up everything. So I actually have to get to the second half to see how well they do against these guys. So I'm just gonna cut to the point where I get there, and we'll see if the team is capable of doing anything at all. Something I will also point out before we start here is that I swapped Kuki over to a Elemental Mastery build using the Gilded Dreams headpiece that we had that I leveled up with some spare pieces, because I feel like we should probably be running that here. I'm not entirely sure whether or not it's going to make a difference, but yeah, we'll see. Alright, let's give this team a proper go-around now then. I'm not entirely sure how well this is going to go, because we are going to have to contest with these guys. But realistically speaking, I kind of want to know how it goes, you know? I'm not hoping for much, because the boss on the other side here is really bad for the team that I ran it with, because I forgot that the Moon Feather guy was the one that we had to do. But it's fine, you know, it's whatever, we learn. These guys are really bad for this, though. Because of the bleed, we're gonna have to play this so carefully, and I think that gets rid of the thing. Oh, it doesn't. Okay. I didn't know that you can actually tag out when you do that. That's interesting. Because it's like, it's doing a little bit, yeah. Is it doing a lot? No, but it is certainly doing. It also doesn't help that I'm missing half of my shots because I'm really bad at the video game, but you know. I'm gonna blame half of it on the fact that I am not good at aiming. But like, it's dealing damage. Just, you know, you have to put your expectations where they are, right? For what is essentially 2 days worth of work with some, I suppose, some pre-prep from my side. We are clearing. Yeah, we're not clearing fast, but we're clearing. Oh. Collei herself isn't exactly doing all that much, as you can see, but she is setting up quicken and aggravate really well. And she is technically also boosting Tignari's damage by a little bit because of the skill effects. Mostly the elemental mastery bonus, I suppose, but it isn't entirely awful, even if her personal damage is not that great. If we had gotten some better crit rates, I think we could be doing a lot more, which is a shame, but again, what are we gonna do when we only devote a couple of days to what we do here? Like, when we actually get half a second to stand still and actually target stuff, we are doing decent damage, actually. Like, the 12k from Collei's burst there isn't entirely awful, even if it isn't as high as we might want it to be, obviously. But, again, there's something here. With a bit more investment, I actually think Collei could be a really good side character. Yeah, obviously, this floor sucks just in general because Bloom is being buffed and we're not playing that. But, like, I'm gonna be real. This team actually works a lot better than I thought that it would. In a properly built setup, because I kind of threw together my Kuki, and obviously Tignari is kind of built, I suppose, but Collei could use some more work. If I spent another couple of weeks really getting the artifact pieces that I need for Collei, I think she could do really, really well here. She acts mostly as a battery and, again, an enabler for Tignari to do more damage, but I think it's actually really good. Let's do a wrap-up. I'm kind of satisfied here. And just like that, Collei's Ascension Arc comes to a close. I'm gonna be honest here, I was actually pleasantly surprised about Collei. While she might not have gotten as much screen time as some of the other characters we've done before, I've been playing her a lot off-screen as well, and she is really fun. Like, don't get me wrong, her skills are very basic, as a 4 stars should be, but they just do enough to make sense. I know that sounds abhorrent, but when you look at a 4-star character and you kind of take a look at their kit, they have to have a very basic role that should be easy to understand and should be slottable just about anywhere. Collei fulfills that purpose wonderfully. Her boomerang is very simple to use, it deals a chunk of damage, and has a built-on passive that makes you better at triggering dendro reactions, and her burst is just really satisfying to use. The fact that you can have a massive area similar to Bennett's burst or Kuki's burst by just clicking a button and dealing dendro damage is really nice. I know that I'm, you know, making her out to be some sort of wonderful, crazy character, which she isn't. But she shouldn't be underestimated, and that's kind of where I wanted to go with this. Anyways, having a look at our post-build, in our pre-build she was obviously an F rating because we didn't get to do anything, and as her final rating for now, she scores a 77%, ending her up with a total score of C. The main problem we have here is the artifact RV score, and her circlet is really detrimental. The fact that we did not get a decent crit rate circlet for her hurts a lot. It is basically just crit rate and no useful substat, and it sucks. But other than that, it's fine. Like, it's limited time, you can't always get what you want, and this is kind of a similar case to the official video where we just have to cut our losses and go for the best, you know? So I don't necessarily mind at all. It's actually kind of nice to have another 4-star character available in the roster. And now for a quick Collei roundup. Honestly, there isn't much to say about Collei that I haven't already mentioned, but let's go over it very quickly. For the pros, she is an incredibly easy to use sub DPS with some absolutely great potential. Do keep in mind that this is a 4-star character released back in patch, what is it, 3.0, I think, is Sumeru. Don't quote me on that because I never remember the version numbers, but But she does really, really well, surprisingly. She is also, and probably the biggest pro out of all here, she is a free character. Every single account will gain access to Collei. She will be available to you for use basically right out of the gate as soon as you're done with Mondstadt. It's awesome. You should not sleep on Collei in case you haven't built her yet and you need an off-field dendro for anything. She's pretty good. She also has very accessible weapon choices, given that both of her best weapons are the 4-star bows from the standard banner. You will eventually pick up one of them, and if you don't have access to those for some reason, she has craftable alternatives that are usable, so it's not like you're losing out on anything. If you're really crazy, you can go with a fishing bow also. That one technically works here. We should also really mention this, that her Dendro application off-field is stellar. Yes, Nahida's and Lauma's are infinitely better, but for a free character that can apply Dendro while not being on the field, it's kind of hard to argue against Collei. She does a wonderful job at that. Now, for the cons, her personal damage is much lower than other Dendro characters, bar maybe Kirara and Yao Yao, even when she is built properly. It's just something about her scalings and her, I don't know what it is, her weird damage application that makes the numbers not really do all that much, even when she is properly built. Characters like, again, Lauma and Nahida, despite not being built for the same reason, tend to dish out a lot more damage just based on their kits, rather than Collei does. Collei's not bad, per se, but it is lower than some other ones. She also, as mentioned, has to contend with both Nahida and Lauma for her spot, given that both Nahida and Lauma do her job infinitely better. Nahida, of course, with or without her signature weapon, basically boosts the entire party's Dendro reactions in certain ways, and she can apply to multiple enemies at once by chaining them together. It's kind of hard to argue not having Nahida instead of Collei, especially if you have Nahida's weapon. That just removes Collei from the equation entirely, unfortunately. Similar for Lauma. Lauma just enables Lunar Bloom, and of course Lunar Bloom is incredibly powerful in this patch, but just Lauma's off-field application for Dendro should not be underestimated, given the fact that it literally does it better, but it is more restrictive to melee characters than Collei might be. Lastly, although it is a very, very small thing, is that while she is perfectly usable without Constellations, Constellation 4 and Constellation 6 make Collei so much better of a character. Constellation 2, 4, and 6 technically all do something beneficial. 2 increases her personal damage. So while the final score isn't all that high, and we didn't exactly get the build that I might have wanted for Collei, I'm still satisfied by the end of this video, and Collei will happily join the roster of characters that I now consider usable. Neat. Lastly, we have to talk about the vote for the next character, because all of you are absolutely insane. The vote we had access to this time around was Mualani, Raiden Shogun, Alhaitham, and a mystery option of Electro. The results are shocking to absolutely nobody. In a joined third place is Mualani and Raiden Shogun, both ending up with 19% of the votes, with the members' votes calculated for. In second place, we had our mystery option with 21% of the votes, and last but not least, Alhaitham takes the win with 41% of the votes. Why do you people want me to build Dendro so much? Like, there's been, what, 7 episodes of Ascension Arc now, and like 4 of them are Dendro? Come on, guys, you can do better than this. Look, I'll deliver your hot man hot or whatever, but stop voting for Dendro. Nah, I'm kidding, you guys can vote for whoever you want, but it is a little bit funny that every time a Dendro character shows up, it's all the Dendros. Then again, I'm gonna be honest here, the fact that we built Collei already, it's kind of nice to have Alhaitham built also, so we can have the rivalry going on, but I digress. Anyways, I'd like to thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed Ascension Arc, do leave a comment down below for the algorithm, leave a like, click the subscribe button because subscribers make me happy, and if you want more votes for the next Ascension Arc vote, do consider a membership down below. There's a join button, it gives you more votes, you can get more influence. Anyway, have a good one.